Marcus Chen wiped the sweat from his forehead as he walked back to his small home on the mining station. His shift in the deep tunnels had been long and hard. All he wanted was a hot meal and some sleep before tomorrow's work began again. The mining station sat at the edge of human space, far from any major planets. It was not a pretty place. Gray metal walls, dim lights, and the constant sound of machines working day and night. But it was home to Marcus and the other miners who dug valuable metals from the nearby asteroid fields. As Marcus reached his door, he stopped. Something was lying on the ground near his entrance. At first, he thought it might be some equipment someone had dropped. Then, he saw it move slightly. It was a person. A small, thin person with strange blue-gray skin and white hair. She wore torn and dirty clothes that looked like they might have been some kind of uniform once. Her breathing was very weak. Marcus had never seen anyone like her before. But he had heard stories. The galaxy was full of different species, and this looked like one of the servant races, the ones the big galactic empire used as slaves. He knelt down beside her. She was badly hurt and very thin, like she had not eaten in days. Strange scars covered her arms and neck. Some looked old. Others seemed fresh. "Hey," Marcus said softly. "Can you hear me?" The alien's eyes opened slowly. They were large and golden, filled with fear. When she saw Marcus, she tried to crawl backward, but she was too weak to move far. "Please," she whispered in broken human language. "I can cook. I can clean. Just don't send me back. Please don't send me back." Her voice was so quiet Marcus almost could not hear her. But the fear in her words was clear. She was terrified. "Easy there," Marcus said, holding up his hands to show he meant no harm. "Nobody's sending you anywhere. You're hurt. Let me help you." The alien stared at him like he had just spoken a foreign language. "Help?" The word seemed to confuse her more than anything else. Marcus carefully lifted her up. She weighed almost nothing. Her skin was cold and she shivered against him as he carried her inside his small home. He placed her gently on his couch and went to get some water and food. When he came back, she was trying to stand up, probably to run away. "Whoa, hold on," Marcus said. "You're safe here. Drink this." He held out a cup of water. The alien looked at it suspiciously, then at Marcus, then back at the water. Slowly, she took the cup with shaking hands and drank. It was clear she had not had clean water in a long time. Marcus sat down across from her, making sure to keep some distance so she would not feel trapped. "What's your name?" he asked. "Zara K9, she said quietly. "I am property of the Hegemony Empire. I escaped from Service Vessel 77 Alpha. The pirates attacked our ship. I took an escape pod. It crashed near here." She spoke like she was reading from a report. Each word was careful and exact, like she had been trained to give information this way. "Zara K9? That sounds like a number, not a name," Marcus said. "It is my designation. I am a Class A domestic servant. I can cook 47 different meal types. I can clean all surfaces. I can organize storage systems. I can." "Stop," Marcus said gently. "I don't care about that stuff. I asked for your name, not your job skills." Again, she looked confused. I don't understand. My designation is my identity. It tells you what I am useful for." Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach. This person talked about herself like she was a piece of equipment. "Do you have a name that's just yours? Something your family called you?" Zara K9 was quiet for a long time. Her golden eyes looked distant, like she was trying to remember something from far away. "I think. Maybe. Zara? Before the training. But servants do not have personal names, only designations." "Well, I'm going to call you Zara then," Marcus said. "And I'm Marcus. Nice to meet you." Zara stared at him. "You want to know my personal designation? Why?" "Because that's what people do. They introduce themselves to each other. But I am not people. I am property. Marcus felt angry, but he tried not to show it. Not angry at her, but angry at whoever had taught her to think this way. Zara, listen to me. You are a person. You're sitting in my home, drinking my water, talking to me. That makes you a person. The hegemony will come looking for me, Zara said suddenly. They put tracking devices in all servants. They will find me and take me back. And they will punish anyone who helped me. Let them try, Marcus said. This is a human station. We have our own rules here. Zara looked at him like he was crazy. You cannot fight the hegemony. They are too powerful. They own millions of my people. They have huge ships and weapons. Why would you risk yourself for me? Marcus was quiet for a moment. It was a good question. Why was he helping her? He did not know much about galactic politics. He just dug metal out of rocks for a living. But looking at this scared, hurt person, he knew he could not just turn her away. Because it's the right thing to do, he said finally. You asked for help. I'm not going to send someone back to people who hurt them. I don't understand, Zara said. You don't have to understand right now. Just rest. Eat some food. We'll figure out the rest later. Zara ate the simple meal Marcus gave her very carefully, like she expected someone to take it away from her at any moment. When she was done, she looked at him with those large golden eyes. What do you want me to do? She asked. What do you want to do? Marcus asked back. Zara was silent for a very long time. Finally, she said in a very small voice, I have never been asked that question before. Marcus realized this was going to be more complicated than he thought. But looking at Zara, seeing the hope and fear fighting in her eyes, he knew he had made the right choice. Whatever came next, he would help her find her own answer to that question. 3 days passed since Marcus found Zara at his door. She was getting stronger, but her behavior still worried him. She woke up before dawn each morning to clean his already clean home. She tried to cook every meal, even though he told her she did not need to. When he came back from work, she would stand by the door and wait for orders. Zara, you don't have to do that, Marcus said as he watched her scrubbing the floor for the 3rd time that day. I must be useful, she replied without looking up. If I am not useful, I will be discarded. Nobody's going to discard you. This isn't about being useful. This is about you getting better. Zara stopped scrubbing and sat back on her heels. I don't understand. Everything is about usefulness. That is why beings exist. Marcus sat down on the floor next to her. What if I told you that you could just sit and do nothing all day if you wanted to? That would be waste, Zara said quickly. Waste is punished. By who? By the overseers, by the masters, by the rules. Her voice got quieter. The pain machines in our heads make sure we don't waste time. Marcus felt that cold anger again. Pain machines? Zara touched the back of her neck, where Marcus could see a small scar. All Cathari get them when we are young. If we think wrong thoughts or disobey, it hurts very much. What kind of wrong thoughts? Wanting things for ourselves, questioning orders, being lazy. The machines know when we think these things. She looked scared just talking about it. Marcus stared at her. Zara, that's horrible. No one should have machines in their head to control them. It is necessary, she said, but her voice was uncertain. Cathari are naturally selfish and lazy. The machines help us be better servants. Who told you that? Everyone knows it. It is taught in all the training centers. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, what do you like to do? When no one is watching, what makes you happy? Zara looked confused again. Servants are not supposed to have preferences, but you must like something. Everyone does. Zara was quiet for a long time. Finally, she whispered. Sometimes, when I was cleaning the gardens on the ship, I liked to look at the plants, the way they grew toward the light, the different colors. I wondered what it would be like to make a garden of my own. That sounds nice, Marcus said. Would you like to see our growing station? We have a place where we grow food for the miners. Zara's eyes went wide. I am allowed to see it? Of course. Come on. Marcus led her through the station corridors to the hydroponics bay. It was a large room filled with growing plants under special lights. The air smelled fresh and green, very different from the metal and oil smells of the rest of the station. Zara stood in the doorway, staring. Slowly, she walked between the rows of plants, touching leaves gently with her fingers. Her whole face changed. The fear and caution disappeared, replaced by something Marcus had never seen in her before. Wonder. "This is beautiful," she said softly. "The guy who runs this section retired last month," Marcus said. "We've been trying to keep the plants alive, but none of us really know what we're doing." Zara was examining one of the plants closely. "This one has a nutrient deficiency. The leaves show the signs, and the water flow system is not efficient. It wastes water and does not feed all the roots equally." She moved through the garden, pointing out problems and solutions. Her voice became more confident as she talked. Marcus realized she was not just cleaning when she worked in the ship's gardens. She had been learning. "You know a lot about this," he said. "I watched. I learned. Even though we were not supposed to think about improving things." She looked worried again. "Is it wrong that I learned?" "Wrong? Zara, it's wonderful. You have a talent." That word seemed to shock her. "Servants don't have talents. We have skills that make us useful." "No, this is different. This is something you're naturally good at, something you enjoy." Over the following days, Zara spent more time in the hydroponics bay. She made small changes to the watering system and moved some plants to better locations. The results were immediate. The plants grew faster and looked healthier. Other miners started to notice. They would stop by to watch Zara work. At first, this made her very nervous. She expected them to give her orders or tell her to work faster, but they just watched and asked questions about the plants. "How did you know to put those two plants together?" asked Sarah, the station commander. "They help each other," Zara explained. "This one gives nutrients that the other one needs. In return, it gets protection from insects." "That's smart thinking," Sarah said. Zara stared at her. "You think my thinking is smart?" "Very smart. I never would have figured that out." That night, Zara was very quiet during dinner. Marcus could see she was thinking hard about something. "Is everything okay?" he asked. "The commander said my thinking was smart," Zara said slowly. "But Cathari, thinking is supposed to be limited. We are only supposed to think about serving others." "Maybe what you were taught isn't true," Marcus suggested. "But if it's not true, then—" She stopped, touching the back of her neck where the scar was. "Then what? Then the pain machines are not helping us. They are hurting us to make us believe lies." Marcus nodded. "That's what I think too." Zara was quiet for a very long time. When she spoke again, her voice was different, stronger. "Marcus, I want to ask you something." "Go ahead. If someone could remove the machine from my head, what would happen to me?" "I don't know," Marcus said honestly. "But I think you would be free to find out who you really are. Would you still want me to stay here if I was different? If I thought my own thoughts and wanted my own things?" Marcus smiled. "Zara, I would like you better that way." She looked at him with those golden eyes, and for the first time since he found her, she seemed to really see him. Not as a master or owner, but as a friend. "I think I would like to try being free," she said quietly. "Then we'll figure out how to make that happen," Marcus promised. But even as he said it, he knew it would not be easy. The hegemony did not let their property go without a fight. And somewhere out there, ships were probably already looking for one missing Cathari servant. Marcus just hoped they would have enough time to help Zara discover who she really was before her old life came looking for her. 2 weeks later, the ships arrived. Marcus was in the hydroponics bay with Zara when the station's alarm started ringing. She was showing him how she had redesigned the water system to be twice as efficient when the warning lights began flashing red. "All station personnel report to main corridors immediately," came the announcement over the speakers. "Unknown vessels approaching." Zara dropped the plant she was holding. Her face went white. "They found me," she whispered, through the bay's windows. Marcus could see 3 large black ships moving toward the station. They were sleek and dangerous looking. Nothing like the rough mining vessels the station usually saw. Stay calm, Marcus said. Let's go see what's happening. They joined the other miners in the main corridor. Commander Sarah was at the communications station, talking to someone on the screen. The man speaking was tall and pale, with cold gray eyes and a uniform covered in symbols that meant nothing to Marcus. I am Overseer Thax Prime of the Hegemony Retrieval Fleet, the man was saying. We are here to recover stolen property. One Class A Cathari servant. Designation Zara Khan 9. Escaped from our custody 3 weeks ago. We don't know anything about any escaped servants, Sarah replied. Our tracking systems show the servant's signal originated from your station. We demand immediate access to search your facility. Behind Marcus, Zara made a small sound of fear. Some of the other miners turned to look at her. Word had spread around the station about Marcus's strange houseguest, but most people had not seen her before. That's her, whispered one of the miners. That's the alien Marcus found. Thax Prime continued speaking. The servant is extremely dangerous. She murdered her previous owners and stole valuable hegemony equipment. Anyone found harboring her will be charged with theft of property and aiding a terrorist. Terrorist? Sarah said. She's just a servant. Cathari servants who refuse to serve are terrorists by definition, Thax Prime replied coldly. They threaten the natural order of the galaxy. We will board your station in 1 hour to begin our search. The screen went dark. The miners stood in shocked silence. Is it true? Asked Tom, one of the older miners. Did she kill people? Zara stepped forward, shaking but trying to be brave. I never killed anyone, she said in a quiet voice. The owners died when pirates attacked our ship. I escaped during the battle. But you are the servant they're looking for? Sarah asked. Yes, Zara whispered. The miners started talking all at once. Some said they should hand her over immediately. Others argued about whether the hegemony had any right to search a human station. Quiet, Sarah shouted. Everyone stopped talking. She looked at Zara carefully. Did you commit any crimes? I ran away, Zara said. That is a crime for servants. Running away from what? Zara touched the scar on the back of her neck. From the pain machines. From being owned. From never being allowed to think my own thoughts. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then she turned to the other miners. Anyone here think running away from slavery is a crime? Slavery's been illegal in human space for centuries, said Marcus. The hegemony doesn't see it as slavery, said another miner. They say it's their culture. I don't care what they call it, said Tom. That girl's been living here for 2 weeks. She's been working with our plants, eating with us, talking with us. She's not property. She's people. Several other miners nodded in agreement. But they have big ships, someone else said. And weapons. What can we do against that? Before anyone could answer, Zara spoke up. I will go back, she said quietly. I will not let them hurt you because of me. No, Marcus said firmly. You're not going back to that. You don't understand, Zara said. You haven't seen what they do to servants who run away. Or to people who help them. The pain machines can be controlled from far away. They will hurt me until I tell them everything. Then they will hurt all of you. She was crying now. I thought I could be free. But there is no freedom for Cathari. There is only service, or death. Marcus felt the anger building inside him again. But this time it was not just anger. It was fury. Pure, burning fury at anyone who could make someone believe they had no choice but slavery or death. Zara, he said, show them. Show them what? Show them the scar. Show them where they put the machine in your head. Zara hesitated, then pulled her hair aside to reveal the scar on the back of her neck. It was small, but clearly made by some kind of surgical tool. They put machines in their heads, Marcus told the other miners. Machines that cause pain if they disobey or think the wrong thoughts. That's how they control them. The miners stared at the scar. Tom, who had 3 daughters back on Earth, looked sick. That's torture, he said. That's how they keep an entire species enslaved, Marcus said. Millions of people like Zara, all with machines in their heads, all too scared to think for themselves. Sarah stepped forward and looked closely at Zara's scar. How long have they been doing this to your people? Since before I was born, Zara said. Since before my parents were born. The hegemony says it has always been this way. Well, it's not going to stay this way, Sarah said firmly. Not while I'm in charge of this station. Thax Prime's voice came over the communication system again. Human station. We are beginning our approach. Prepare for boarding. From that, Sarah walked over to the communications panel and opened a channel. Overseer Thax Prime, this is Commander Sarah Rodriguez. I'm denying your request to board this station. You cannot deny us. We are here on official hegemony business. This is a human station in human space. Your hegemony has no authority here. The servant is our property. You are thieves. The person you're looking for is not property. She's a refugee seeking asylum, and we're granting it. There was a long silence. When Thax Prime spoke again, his voice was very cold. You are making a grave mistake, human. The hegemony does not negotiate with thieves. Then don't negotiate, Sarah said. Turn your ships around and go home. We will take back what belongs to us, by force if necessary. You're welcome to try, Sarah replied, and shut off the communication. She turned to face the miners. Anyone who wants to leave can take a transport shuttle right now. I won't think less of you for going, but I will not hand over someone who came to us for help. None of the miners moved toward the shuttles. What about our families? Someone asked. What if the hegemony comes after them? Human space has laws against that kind of revenge, Sarah said. But I won't lie to you. This could get dangerous. Marcus looked at Zara, who was staring at all the humans in amazement. You would fight for me? She asked. But I am just one Cathari. You're not just anything, Marcus said. You're Zara. You're our friend. And friends, don't let friends get dragged back to slavery. The other miners nodded in agreement. Even the ones who looked scared were standing firm. Zara started crying again. But this time, they were not tears of fear. I have never had friends before, she whispered. Well, you do now, said Tom, and we take care of our own. Outside the windows, the hegemony ships were getting closer. Their weapons were clearly visible. All right, people, Sarah said. Let's see what we can do with mining equipment against warships, because nobody's taking our friend away from us. For the first time since she had arrived at the station, Zara smiled. The miners had 2 hours before the hegemony ships reached the station. It was not much time to prepare for a fight against warships, but humans had always been good at making do with what they had. What kind of weapons do we have? Sarah asked. Mining lasers, some explosives for breaking up asteroids, and a lot of very stubborn people, Tom replied. That's not much against military ships. It's what we've got, Marcus said. So we'll make it work. While the others prepared defenses, Marcus took Zara to the station's medical bay. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the station's doctor, was waiting for them. Marcus told me about your situation, Dr. Vasquez said to Zara. About the device in your head. Zara nodded, touching the scar on her neck. I want to try to remove it, the doctor continued. But I have to be honest with you. I've never done surgery like this before. It could be very dangerous. What kind of dangerous? Marcus asked. The device might be connected to important parts of her brain. If I make a mistake, she could be paralyzed. Or worse. Zara was quiet for a moment. Then she said, What happens if you don't remove it? Then, when the hegemony ships get close enough, they can activate it remotely, Dr. Vasquez explained. They can cause you pain from far away, or even kill you. They will do that, Zara said with certainty. They will hurt me until I tell them everything about who helped me. Then they will hurt me more as punishment for running away. She looked at Marcus, then at Dr. Vasquez. I want you to try to remove it. Zara, are you sure? Marcus asked. The doctor said it's dangerous. I would rather die free than live as a slave, Zara said firmly. Please, try to take it out. Dr. Vasquez nodded. All right. But we'll need to use the mining laser for precision cutting. It's the only tool we have that's fine enough. They moved Zara to the operating table. Dr. Vasquez had never used a mining laser for surgery before. But she had steady hands and 30 years of medical experience. This is going to hurt, she warned Zara. "I am used to pain," Zara replied. The operation took an hour. Marcus held Zara's hand while Dr. Vasquez carefully cut into the back of her neck with the modified mining laser. The device was small, but deeply embedded in her spine. Halfway through the procedure, something unexpected happened. As Dr. Vasquez cut through some of the device's connections, Zara's whole body went rigid. "What's happening?" Marcus asked. I think I'm remembering," Zara whispered. Her eyes went wide. "I remember my parents. Their real names. My real name. R. Free. What is your real name?" "Zara Kalinda," she said, tears streaming down her face. "My father was Jorak Kalinda. He was a teacher. My mother was Nira Kalinda. She was an artist. They died fighting against the hegemony when I was small." More memories flooded back as Dr. Vasquez continued cutting away the device's connections. Zara remembered a time before the machines, before the training centers. She remembered learning songs from her mother and stories from her father. She remembered what it felt like to laugh without fear. The device wasn't just controlling you, Dr. Vasquez realized. It was blocking your memories too. Finally, after what felt like forever, the doctor pulled the small metal device from Zara's neck. It was no bigger than a coin, but it had controlled every thought in her head for most of her life. "How do you feel?" Marcus asked. Zara sat up slowly. For a moment, she looked confused. Then she smiled. And it was a completely different smile than any Marcus had seen from her before. It was confident. "Free. I feel like myself," she said. "For the first time in my life, I feel like myself. 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 I feel like myself." Before they could celebrate, the station's alarms started ringing again. "All personnel to battle stations," came Sarah's voice over the speakers. "The hegemony ships are beginning their attack." Marcus and Zara ran to the main corridor. Through the windows, they could see the black ships firing energy weapons at the station's outer shields. "How are we doing?" Marcus asked Sarah. "Better than expected. Turns out mining shields are pretty tough. They're built to handle asteroid impacts, but they won't hold forever," Tom added. Sarah turned to Zara. "Can you help us? You know their ships better than we do." Zara nodded. "Hegemony ships have strong weapons, but they have a weakness. The power systems are designed to be controlled by servant crews. If something goes wrong, the servants can't fix it without permission from the overseers. What does that mean for us? If you can damage their power systems, they won't be able to fix them quickly. The servants will be too afraid to act without orders." Marcus had an idea. "What if we use the mining charges, not as weapons, but to create debris fields?" "Explain," Sarah said. "We blow up some asteroids between us and them, create a cloud of rocks moving in all directions. Their ships are fast, but they can't dodge everything." It was a desperate plan, but it was all they had. The miners loaded their most powerful explosive charges onto small transport pods and sent them toward nearby asteroids. When the charges exploded, they created exactly what Marcus had hoped for: clouds of rock fragments moving at high speed in random directions. The hegemony ships found themselves flying through a maze of deadly debris. 2 of them took heavy damage to their hulls. The third tried to back away. But the miners had anticipated that. "Now!" Sarah shouted. The station's mining lasers, normally used to cut through solid rock, fired at the damaged hegemony ships. The beams punched through their shields and into their power systems. Just as Zara had predicted, the ship's servant crews could not repair the damage quickly. They had to wait for orders from their overseers, who were too busy trying to navigate the debris field to give proper instructions. But the battle was far from over. The largest hegemony ship was still mostly undamaged, and it was moving closer to the station. "Incoming message from the hegemony ship," the communications officer reported. Overseer Thax Prime appeared on the screen again. His face was twisted with anger. "You have damaged 2 of my ships and killed dozens of my crew. This ends now." You started this fight," Sarah replied. "We're just finishing it. Give me the servant, or I will destroy your entire station. No deal. Thax Prime's face became even colder. Then you will all die for one worthless Cathari. She's not worthless, Marcus said, stepping into view of the camera. And her name is Zara Kalinda. Thax Prime's eyes went wide. Kalinda? That name is forbidden. The Kalinda family line was eliminated decades ago. Apparently not, Zara said, moving to stand beside Marcus. Without the device in her head, she stood straighter, looked more confident. I am Zara Kalinda, daughter of Jorak and Nira. And I remember everything. Impossible. The memory blocks were perfect. Nothing is perfect forever, Zara replied. And now, other Cathari will learn that freedom is possible. Thax Prime's face went pale. If word spreads that the memory blocks can be removed, then millions of your slaves might start thinking for themselves, Zara finished. Yes, that's exactly what will happen. Through the ship's communications system, they could hear alarms ringing on the hegemony vessels. Something was going wrong with their ships. But it was not because of battle damage. Sir, a voice said in the background of Thax Prime's ship. The servant crews are not responding to orders. They're just standing there, Zara smiled. I sent a message to the other ships, a message that could only be sent by someone without a control device. The servants on your ships now know that freedom is possible. On have a G. I have a G. On have a G. On have a G. On have a G. Marcus realized what was happening. The Cathari crews on the hegemony ships had heard Zara speak freely, had seen her stand up to an overseer without pain or punishment. For beings who had never seen such a thing before, it was proof that their chains could be broken. Get back to work, Thax Prime screamed at his crew. Or I'll activate the pain devices. Do it, Zara said quietly. Show them what you really are. But Thax Prime hesitated. If he tortured his entire crew while their conversation was being broadcast to other ships, it would only prove Zara's point about the cruelty of the hegemony system. In that moment of hesitation, the miners struck one final time. All their remaining mining lasers fired at once, targeting the last ship's engines. The beam punched through the ship's hull and exploded its main power core. The ship began drifting, powerless and helpless. This isn't over, Thax Prime said before the communication cut off. But looking at the disabled ships and thinking about the message that Zara had sent to Cathari all across the galaxy, Marcus thought maybe it was over. Maybe something new was just beginning. 6 months later, the mining station looked very different. What had once been a small operation on the edge of human space was now the center of something much bigger. Ships arrived every day bringing Cathari refugees who had escaped from hegemony territory. Some came alone, others in small groups. All of them had heard the message that Zara had sent during the battle. Freedom was possible. Marcus walked through the expanded hydroponics bays, where Zara was teaching a group of young Cathari how to grow food. The children laughed as they played in the dirt, something that would have been forbidden under hegemony rule. Servants were not supposed to enjoy their work. The purple flowers like more water than the yellow ones, Zara was explaining to a small Cathari girl with bright green eyes. See how their leaves droop when they're thirsty? The girl nodded seriously and carefully watered the plant. Like this, teacher Zara? Perfect, Kira. You're learning fast, Marcus smiled. Zara had chosen to keep using her human nickname along with her real family name. It connects both parts of who I am, she had explained. The person I was born to be and the person I chose to become. How are the new arrivals settling in? Marcus asked as the children ran off to play. Better each day, Zara replied. The hardest part is helping them understand they have choices. Many of them still ask permission to eat, or sleep, or speak. It takes time, Marcus said. You didn't believe you were free right away either. No, I didn't. Zara looked out the windows at the ships in the docking bay. Sometimes I still can't believe it's real. Dr. Vasquez approached them with a data pad in her hands. Zara, we've gotten another request for the procedure. How many this week? 23. Word is spreading fast about the memory block removal. Over the past months, Dr. Vasquez had become expert at removing the control devices from Cathari refugees. Each successful surgery meant another person getting their memories and personality back. Each operation was also a message to the galaxy that the hegemony's control was not permanent. Any complications? Zara asked. 2 patients had some temporary dizziness, but everyone has recovered fully. The mining laser technique is working well. Marcus marveled at how things had changed. The mining station now had a full medical center, expanded living quarters, and its own defensive fleet, made up of converted cargo ships. Human volunteers had come from across human space to help with the refugee crisis. Commander Sarah approached them with a serious expression. "We've got news from the front lines." "Good news or bad news?" Marcus asked. "Both." The good news is that 3 more hegemony fleet groups have had major servant uprisings in the past month. Entire ships taken over by their Cathari crews. And the bad news? The hegemony is getting desperate. They're starting to execute any Cathari who shows signs of independent thinking. Even if they haven't rebelled yet. Zara's face went grim. How many? Thousands, maybe tens of thousands. They'd rather kill their servants than risk losing control. Marcus felt sick. All those deaths, just because some Cathari had dared to hope for freedom. "It's not your fault," Sarah said quickly, seeing the pain in Zara's eyes. "This was always going to happen eventually. You just made it happen sooner." "She's right," Marcus added. "A system that cruel was never going to last forever. Better to fight now than wait for it to get even worse." "Ah," Zara nodded, but Marcus could see she was struggling with the guilt. Every freed Cathari on the station was alive because of her courage, but thousands more were dying because the hegemony feared losing their slaves. "There is more news," Sarah continued. "The Cathari resistance has officially formed a government in exile. They want you to be their first leader." "Zara." "Me?" Zara looked shocked. "But I don't know how to lead a government. You know how to inspire people to be free. That's more important than knowing about politics." Zara was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I want to think about it. This is too important to decide quickly." That evening, Marcus found Zara sitting alone in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. She had been spending more time here lately, especially when she needed to think about difficult decisions. "Hard day?" he asked, sitting down beside her. "Every day is hard now," she replied. "When I was a servant, I only had to worry about following orders. Now, I have to worry about thousands of people who are counting on me to help them stay free. You don't have to carry all that weight by yourself, don't I? They call me the first free Cathari. They look at me like I have all the answers." She sighed. "But I'm just someone who got lucky enough to meet a human who refused to send me back to slavery." Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You know what I think?" "What?" "I think you're being too hard on yourself. 6 months ago, you were so scared you could barely speak without permission. Now you're teaching children, helping design new settlements, and making decisions that affect thousands of people. You've grown into a leader. But people are dying because of choices I made. People were already dying under the hegemony system. At least now they're dying for something better." Zara leaned back in her chair. "Do you think we'll win? Really win, I mean. Not just rescue a few thousand Cathari, but actually defeat the hegemony?" Marcus thought about it seriously. "I think the hegemony has a big problem. Their entire system depends on keeping millions of intelligent beings convinced they're not worthy of freedom. But you've proven that's a lie. Once that lie starts falling apart, it's hard to put back together." "The humans are helping more than I expected," Zara said. "I thought maybe you would save me and a few others, then lose interest. You underestimated how stubborn humans can be." Marcus replied with a smile. "We don't like bullies. And we really don't like people who hurt our friends." The next morning, Zara called a meeting of all the Cathari refugees on the station. Marcus and the other humans watched from the observation gallery as she stood before nearly 200 of her people. "My name is Zara Kalinda," she began. 6 months ago, I was a slave with a number instead of a name. Today, I am free to choose my own path. And so are all of you. The crowd was silent, listening carefully to every word. The resistance leaders have asked me to become the president of a free Cathari government. I've decided to accept, but only on one condition. We must remember that freedom is not just about being free from the hegemony. It's about being free to become whoever we choose to be. She gestured to the children playing in the front row. These little ones will grow up never knowing what it feels like to have a machine controlling their thoughts. They will make their own choices, follow their own dreams, and raise their own children in freedom. The crowd began to murmur with excitement. Some of you will choose to be farmers. Others will be artists or teachers or engineers. Some will want to travel the galaxy. Others will want to stay in one place. All of these choices are good choices, because they are your choices. The murmurs grew louder, more enthusiastic. The hegemony taught us that Cathari were only meant to serve others. But look around this room. Look at what we have built together in just 6 months. We are not servants. We are people. We are free people, and we will never be slaves again. The crowd erupted in cheers. Marcus felt tears in his eyes as he watched Zara raise her hand and wave to her people. She had come so far from the scared, broken person who had collapsed at his door. After the meeting, Zara found Marcus in the hydroponics bay where it all started. "Thank you," she said simply. "For what? For seeing me as a person when I didn't even see myself that way. For refusing to send me back when it would have been easier. For helping me remember who I really was." Marcus shrugged. "I just did what anyone should do." "No," Zara said firmly. "You did what humans do. You chose to help someone who needed help, even when it was dangerous, even when it was inconvenient, even when you had nothing to gain from it." She smiled and looked around the growing garden they had built together. "My people will remember that. When we tell the story of how we gained our freedom, we will always remember that it started with one human who couldn't stand to see injustice and decided to do something about it." Marcus looked around the garden too, at all the plants Zara had nurtured, and all the children learning to grow their own food. It was a small thing, really, compared to the vast galaxy outside, but sometimes small things grew into something much bigger. "What's next?" he asked. "Next, we keep growing," Zara replied. "The garden, the colony, the resistance, the dream of freedom for all Cathari everywhere. We keep growing until that dream becomes reality." Outside the windows, another ship was approaching the station, probably more refugees seeking freedom, or more human volunteers coming to help. The work would continue. Marcus smiled as he watched Zara walk over to welcome the newest arrivals. She moved with confidence now, her head held high, her voice clear and strong. She was no longer the frightened person who had whispered desperately at his door. She was Zara Kalinda, the first free Cathari. And she was just getting started.